I want to share something very personal with you, something that honestly makes me feel really vulnerable. You see, when I was 10 years old, I was bullied. There were times when I was so scared about these other kids who were bullying me that I would hide out after school, sometimes for as long as an hour before deciding to finally walk home, where more often than not, they'd be waiting for me in the woods between school and home. And around that same time, while playing near the water, I literally almost drowned. That experience and what followed kept me away from water any deeper than waist deep for the next 26 years. I'm now 65, and as you probably know, I wrote a book 2 years ago about aging and health. You know, looking back at my life, well, I thought about health and how to improve it nearly every day. I never went to college to learn anything about science, really. I never became a researcher. I don't have a PhD. And for that matter, I never thought about owning a business. I'm just a drummer. You see, my friends, I wasn't supposed to write a book. Certainly not a book about health or about aging. I'm sure as hell not smart enough to write a book. I'm just not capable of that. From the time I was bullied and almost drowned, all I ever really believed about myself was that I was weak, that I was a coward. And yeah, I spent the next 40 years since those experiences waffling between, on one hand, believing I was a coward, and on the other hand, trying to do something or live in a way that would change that narrative in my head. My friends, the story we tell ourselves about ourselves has a powerful hold on us and on our life. So much of what we learn in life, we twist or manipulate or massage to fit the story, or it's rejected if it doesn't. What's my point? These stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves influence how our life plays out in ways we can't even begin to imagine. What we decide to do or not do, to become. For example, talk about your relationships. If you tell yourself you aren't worthy, you're much more likely to settle for someone that ends up bringing more pain and hardship into your life instead of someone who shows you just how amazing you really are. If you tell yourself you can't change or you can't learn or grow, then you aren't likely to even try. I've learned the hard way that sometimes it's not the sheer difficulty of achieving something that stops every one of us. It's the ease of continuing to tell ourselves that story that we can't. I'm speaking to you right now because of a simple leap of faith a couple of decades ago. For whatever reason, I found the courage to rewrite that flawed story I told myself for so many years. That just isn't true. I'm not a coward. And I am an author. And I am smart enough to do that. I am capable. What I really want to share with you is this. It's now your turn. Your turn to rewrite the story you tell yourself about your health. Because you can make small, tiny changes now that will have an impact on your health and on your aging as time goes on. But only if you believe it and then take action. I'll finish with this. In the epilogue of my book, I asked this question: what is your why? What's your why? And who are the people that matter most to you? Do you want to burden them because you're suffering or sick with a chronic illness as you get older? Or spend quality time with them creating memories? It's up to you. It's up to all of us to rewrite these stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. It'll determine how the second half of our life plays out